Hello, and thank you for allowing us to give you our research on how to reimagine U.S. energy laws and subsidies. We would like to recommend a 20-year target for how much we should rely on wind power, fossil fuels, and reducing fracking. As you can see, our energy return on investment in domestic oil is losing ground fast. As an investor, this would be the time to let go of this investment and find a better venture to sign on with. Reducing our dependency on fossil fuels is a must. When the U.S. first started tracking our energy return on investment on domestic oil in 1930, our return was 100 to 1. By 1970, it was roughly 40 to 1, and we had an oil shortage like never before. As of the year 2000, the energy return on investment for domestic oil is barely 10 to 1. It has fallen behind all but a few resources that are also based on fossil fuels, with only coal and natural gas in the lead. As a country, we have already decided that coal usage must be reduced, and we are well on our way. However, we have mainly moved that energy investment to fracking, which you can't see in the air, but you have to look down to see the damage that it causes. Our group would like to take our focus to wind power, hydroelectric, and biomass energy as a reliable and consistent energy source when placed in correct research locations. As you can see, wind power isn't even able to be on this pie chart. Why is that? Because of the birds, you ask? There have been studies done around the world that have proved this idea obsolete. Birds are not at risk due to wind power. In 20 years, we believe that we could make the big three energy resources: wind, hydropower, and biomass energy, and nuclear power. Our world needs to rely less on fossil fuels. The use of coal, oil, and natural gas drives global climate change and entails many other health and environmental impacts. Thus far, in the U.S., our answer to reducing coal usage has been to increase natural gas uses, which is not reducing our dependency of fossil fuels as a whole. It is merely moving the problem up the hill. We are trading air pollution for ground pollution. This is not a viable long-term fix. The truth is that these non-renewable energy sources will not last forever. Biomass energy is energy obtained from biomass resources, organic material derived from living or recently living organisms. We harness bioenergy from many types of plant matter: wood from trees, charcoal from wood charred in the absence of oxygen, matter from agricultural crops, and combustible animal waste products such as cattle manure. Most widely used biofuel today is ethanol, whose carbon-oxygen bonds yield about 10% of the energy per volume of gasoline hydrocarbon bonds. Biofuel, our best way to manage waste from multiple industries. The goal for our research is to explain bioenergy and its advantages and how to make it readily available to the end user. Our nation's transportation energy needs to be clean, green, and renewable. Advanced biofuel help with feedstocks, deconstruction, fuel synthesis through plants, CO2, biomass, polysaccharides, enzymes, sugars, and microbes. A pro to biofuel is its useful way of managing waste disposal for matter that would otherwise be waste. It can be stored with minimal energy loss. It is plentiful wherever there are agricultural crops and forestry. It can also help to stabilize soils, improve soil fertility, and reduce erosion. And last but not least, it can also generate heat and electricity in a cogeneration power plant. Nuclear power creates fission-released nuclear energy in reactors to generate electricity. Nuclear energy comes from processed and enriched uranium. It delivers energy more cleanly than fossil fuels. Nuclear power is a sustainable energy source, but could become completely renewable if the source of uranium changed from mined to seawater. Nuclear would become as endless as solar. Everything that is sustainable is renewable. Despite this, nuclear power occupies an odd and conflicted position in our modern debate over energy. It is free of the air pollution produced by fossil fuels, and it remains one of our most influential solutions to climate change. how can we reduce our reliance on fossil fuel? Over 75% of our energy comes from the use of fossil fuel like natural gas and coal. Since these take such a long time to make, we cannot really consider it as a renewable resource, so we need to start making positive changes to how we can do that. The first small step that we can take would be starting at home, being more conscious of the energy that we are using. During the winter, most of our homes use gas and electricity to heat our homes. This uses natural gas that is cultivated from the earth. The easiest way would be to turn down your thermostats and use less natural gas. Invest in more energy efficient windows. Open your windows at night in summer instead of using the air conditioner. Update your homes with energy efficient appliances. The second and largest way would be investing in a more fuel-efficient car or other means of transportation. Gasoline uses fossil fuel to power our cars. In America alone, we use 18 million barrels of oil a day. That is a huge amount. If we invested in more fuel-efficient cars, would drastically cut down on that. Other ways would be taking public transportation or biking. The main way that America has moved away from using coal as a main power source is to use natural gas through fracking. In order for us to gain access to this natural gas, we use a process called fracking. This is where you use high pressure water mixed with chemicals to break open rock and release the natural gas. This can be seen as a negative because we are using fresh water as well as putting chemicals out into the environment. Two ways we could cut down on this waste would be using recycled water as well as treating the wastewater from fracking plants. The amount of water wasted usually far outweighs the amount of reward we get from the fracking process. Up to 60% of the water injected into a wellhead during the fracking process will discharge back out of the well shortly thereafter as flowback wastewater. Thereafter, and for the life of the wellhead, it will discharge up to 100,000 gallons of wastewater. This wastewater needs to be captured and disposed of or recycled. Our conclusion is textbook. Given limited supplies of fossil fuels and their considerable environmental impacts, many nations have sought to diversify their energy portfolios with alternative energy sources. The three most developed and widely used alternatives so far are nuclear power, bioenergy, and hydropower. Bioenergy sources are diverse and range from traditional fuel wood to newer biofuels and various means of generating biopower. These sources can be carbon neutral, but are not all strictly renewable. Hydropower is a renewable, pollution-free alternative. What will we as a nation do next? I believe that in 20 years it's completely possible to move our big three energy sources from coal, oil, and natural gas to nuclear, biomass, and hydropower.